Alright guys, how's it going? I want to get into the flood myth really quickly. I've talked about this before. There's a video I did maybe 9 months ago where I spoke about the flood and Noah's flood and what it represents and all that. And I kind of want to reiterate that and re-emphasize that because I think it's really, really important. And when I brought it up last time, it was more in the context of things like abortion and the Plan B pill and all of that, and the type of Christians who get all up in arms, right? They grab their pitchforks and their hoes and they're ready to chase, the devil out of town, even though the devil's really in their own minds and they don't realize it. But like what I said in that video, it's like if you have your ark, if you make your ark, you could think of the ark as a representation of your house. Like if you're a man, if you're a husband, if you're a father, the ark would be the metaphysical boat that you have your family on. And you prepare for the flood before the flood happens. And preparing for the flood to me just means having fellowship with your family, having fellowship with your children, with your wife, or even if you are a wife, have fellowship with your husband, and speak to him about these things. Speak to him about the things that are happening in the world, without anger, like this abortion thing, the Plan B thing, Planned Parenthood, and all that. And I use that a lot because it's a really good example of what it's like for the world to affect the mind and how easily we're tricked into thinking that it matters. And it matters to a degree, but if you have your ark in order, if you have your house in order, if you have your new bloodline, your new lineage in order, then you bring your family into the New Testament. And you can think of the world as the world that Noah's Ark was in, where the flood occurred, Sodom and Gomorrah, where those events occurred, that mythos. And you can think of it as fact or fiction, or if you really truly think it's fiction, it doesn't matter. Like, the metaphors are there. The Bible is wrapped in metaphors, is wrapped in symbolism. It doesn't matter if you truly believe there is a man out there named Noah who built an ark by himself and put all the animals in it and whatnot. That doesn't matter. What matters is the symbolism and how it pertains to your life, because these stories are meaningless if you're not examining yourself and see yourself in these stories. These stories are about you. These stories are about your family and your life and your friends and the media and the government. It's about your world. The Bible is your world. The Bible is your world. The stories in the Bible are what is happening to you inside of you. You don't have to take it so literally. Like, just drop the religious context and think of these stories on the more metaphysical level, the more spiritual level, because all of these stories refer to the spirit of humanity, the mythos of humanity, these stories that are repeating. And to me, Noah's Ark is one of the most powerful stories, like one of the most true stories when it comes to family and fatherhood, especially fatherhood. And mothers don't feel left out. Like, I talk about how important fathers are, and mothers are important too, and maybe I don't get into it the way I should. But I know the females in my audience that are out there, you understand that it's not that I don't want to talk about women in a good light. It's that the things that the out of control aspect of women in the world right now is not being talked about, is what my issue is. And that's why I bring it up so much. That's why I don't bring up, the positives of motherhood, or the positives of femininity, the positives of women. And I'm not saying they don't have qualities like that. But the world is so flipped upside down, I have to bring up this other aspect that the media refuses to talk about, that nobody else talks about. Politicians don't talk about it, nobody talks about it. Women aren't willing to be honest about their own behavior. And to be honest, men aren't either. Men aren't willing to accept that. You know what I was going to say? I was about to say men aren't willing to accept the fact that they're weak, but I'd say men are more willing to accept that they're weak or admit that they're weak way before a woman would. Way before a woman would. And I had an interesting discussion with my wife about the difference between men and women when it comes to socialization, especially when it comes to fighting, like whether it be physical or social. And men tend to get into fights, like physical fights, where it's just one and done, and there's no grudges that are held after that. Because I think men realize that, well, boys and men realize very quickly from an early age. I may have talked about this before in a previous recording. I'm not even sure. I do so many recordings all at once, and I kind of edit them one after another, and I kind of forget what I say in them. But I'm just going to repeat it because I think it's very profound the way men act with other men. Is that they know that when things get physical, it's very serious. It can be deadly. You know, you break your nose, even something as simple as taking a fist to the temple could mean that you're blind from one eye for the rest of your life. And that's just something that, I don't know, even on a subconscious level, men take into consideration. And my wife was telling a story where her sister's boyfriend got in a fight with a guy who was kind of starting shit with my wife. She wasn't my wife at the time, but for parking in a parking spot outside of their apartment complex, and kind of started talking shit. My sister-in-law's boyfriend got involved and fought him. Like, they beat each other up for a while, and after it was said and done, they kind of stopped fighting and shook hands and kind of went their own way. And like, had an understanding. It's like, look, we need to stop this. And I don't know, I wasn't there, right? But I can only imagine it going something along the lines of, I think we kind of proved our point here. Let's just back off and, get into our corners of the ring and just chill out. Fight's over. She can just park there. Who cares? And it's stupid and petty, right? But and my wife told me, like, women don't do that. Women are very petty, like, through her own admission. And I didn't pry into it too much because I already know. Like, she knows and I know. I don't have to rub it in her face. Like, it's like I already know this. But it's nice to hear another woman admit that women are petty and crazy. And men can be too, but like I said, it's just a weird difference with men and women in that aspect. Because women will stretch out a conflict for years just out of pettiness, even after a physical altercation, because maybe they just don't realize that fighting is dangerous and deadly, and war is not pretty. And I think a lot of men as they're young boys realize this very early on, that fighting is just too serious. Like, getting hurt isn't fun, to put it simply. But anyway, back on topic. I'm not sure. I got way off track. All right, to get back to the Noah thing, because I got way off track. When it comes to Noah and the flood, fathers and husbands are designed. It's in God's order for the men to have their house in order, so that when the flood does come, they'll be prepared for the flood. And I'm not talking about a literal flood. I'm not talking about rain coming from the sky. I'm talking about the bullshit that life throws at you, like old age, for instance. And I criticize boomers, and I criticize a lot of old people, a lot of grown adults who expect their grown children to take care of them when they're older, when they have their whole lives. Like, these older people have their entire lives, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, to get their shit together so they don't have to burden their children. And that's what I mean by setting up your ark. And that's why I believe that the story of Noah's Ark is one of the most profound, because that's life. While the sun is up, while the sun is out, while sunshine is raining down on you, while sunshine is beaming down on you, when the day is clear, that's when you build your ark. That's when you find the perfect tools and the perfect wood. You got plenty of time, right? You got 30, 40 years of life to build your ark. You have all this time to set up your family, to set up yourself mentally. That way when the rottenness does come, when the rain does come, when the flood does come, and the water starts rising, you're unaffected. Your boat will float. Your ship will float. And that's what I mean, guys. It's like, and that's what meditation's going to do. That's what's setting up your mind for, like, God is trying to prepare you for the little things before the big things come. Like if your spouse passes away, you'll be mentally fit and prepared for that. Or suddenly you're a single mom or you're a single dad. And you'll have the right words to say to your daughter or to your son or to your family. And that's God's order. That's what God designed us to do. And that's what's crazy to me about the Bible thumpers. That's what gets me thinking about these crazy Bible thumpers on my channel lately who haven't a damn clue what they're talking about. They take the Bible so literally. They can't see these stories within themselves. They see these stories as outside themselves. The Bible isn't talking about the world outside of ourselves. The Bible is talking about us. It's talking about the Son within you. I am the God within you. And it just scares them, right? They start shaking. It's like, oh no, the God in me, the light in me. I have to go to church and get on my knees. Jesus Christ. That's what burns me up about it, though. It gets me, how do I put it? Maybe emotion's a good word, but it's more of an excitement of seeing it, right? Because I get, not excited, but I guess excited's a fine word, where I get like amped up because I see it and no one else sees it. And I'm sure there's other people that see it too, but I don't see many people talking about it. Except for like, I don't know, William Donahue, that dude that I just discovered. He talks about these things, which is fucking crazy to me. Where the hell has this dude been all my life? Supposedly he's been on television. I may have seen him on television, just didn't realize it, as a younger boy in the 90s. But it's just wild to see these things and no one else sees, and that's what gets me like kind of amped up and a little annoyed. Like, I see these things, I'm trying to make you see these things. Like, snap out of it. Put away the book. Like, read the Bible and put it away. Don't memorize. Stop memorizing lines. Stop memorizing words. You got to memorize word for word and go, oh, Jesus didn't say this, he meant this, and because this word is different in this version of the Bible. You know how fucking retarded you sound when, and nobody's done this in my comments, but the people who do this, who just have to quote the Bible or a certain verse word for word in this version of the Bible, and it's like, you sound so low IQ, you sound so stupid. And then, I don't know, like, these people have the audacity to say things like, your soul is on the line. Like, no, it's not. I'm fine. Do not pray for me. Pray for somebody else who needs it. The light's already within me. Y'all can go to hell. The light's within me. I don't need a book. It's not in a book. Are you crazy? The Bible is dead. The Bible is the dead word. Doesn't mean the mythology is real. The mythology is within us. That's what I mean by the Bible's within us. The Bible's within you. It's already written in your heart. This mythology is living. The mythology is living. You're living it out. You're living out all these stories in real time. The story of Adam and Eve, the story of Cain and Abel, the story of Noah, the story of Joseph, Abraham and Isaac, the story of Jesus. It's all within you. It's all going to happen to you. It's all happening to you in your circle, in your bubble, in your life, your family, your husband, your nieces, your nephews, your uncles, your aunts. your sons and your daughters. It's all there. And that's all you need. These stories are written in your heart already. And go read the Bible. I don't care. It's a nice book. Read it, pick it up, set it down, and go on with your life. And it's fun to read, dude. I don't mind reading it sometimes. Like, I have no issues with reading the Bible. It's this sick obsession that some people have with it that I don't like. Because they're being led astray by Satan. And the devil wrote the Bible. All of y'all who think all of y'all who think that God wrote the Bible, like, you're way off. Way off. There is no way in hell a heavenly Father would give his sons and daughters something so deadly as a book. Throw your Bible in the fire. Anyway, guys, I think I made my point. If I got anything else to add, I'll add it later. Y'all have a great day.